Harper Audio presents The 450 from Paddington by Agatha Christie, performed by Emilia Fox. Chapter 1. Mrs. McGillicuddy panted along the platform in the wake of the porter carrying her suitcase. Mrs. McGillicuddy was short and stout. The porter was tall and free-striding. In addition, Mrs. McGillicuddy was burdened with a large quantity of parcels, the result of a day's Christmas shopping. The race was, therefore, an uneven one, and the porter turned the corner at the end of the platform whilst Mrs. McGillicuddy was still coming up the straight. Number 1 platform was not at the moment unduly crowded, since a train had just gone out, but in the no-man's land beyond, a milling crowd was rushing in several directions at once, to and from undergrounds, left luggage offices, tea rooms, inquiry offices, indicator boards, and the 2 outlets, arrival and departure, to the outside world. Mrs. McGillicuddy and her parcels were buffeted to and fro, but she arrived eventually at the entrance to number 3 platform and deposited one parcel at her feet whilst she searched her bag for the ticket that would enable her to pass the stern, uniformed guardian at the gate. At that moment, a voice, raucous yet refined, burst into speech over her head. "The train standing at platform 3, the voice told her, is the 450 for Brackhampton, Milchester, Waverton, Carville Junction, Wroxeter, and stations to Chadmouth. Passengers for Brackhampton and Milchester travel at the rear of the train. Passengers for Vankey change at Wroxeter." The voice shut itself off with a click, and then reopened conversation by announcing the arrival at platform 9 of the 435 from Birmingham and Wolverhampton. Mrs. McGillicuddy found her ticket and presented it. The man clipped it, murmured, "On the right rear portion." Mrs. McGillicuddy padded up the platform and found her porter looking bored and staring into space outside the door of a third-class carriage. "Here you are, lady." "I'm travelling first class," said Mrs. McGillicuddy. "You didn't say so," grumbled the porter. His eyes swept her masculine-looking pepper-and-salt tweed coat disparagingly. Mrs. McGillicuddy, who had said so, did not argue the point. She was sadly out of breath. The porter retrieved the suitcase and marched with it to the adjoining coach, where Mrs. McGillicuddy was installed in solitary splendour. The 450 was not much patronised, the first-class clientele preferring either the faster morning express or the 6:40 with dining car. Mrs. McGillicuddy handed the porter his tip, which he received with disappointment, clearly considering it more applicable to third-class than to first-class travel. Mrs. McGillicuddy, though prepared to spend money on comfortable travel after a night journey from the north and a day's feverish shopping, was at no time an extravagant tipper. She settled herself back on the plush cushions with a sigh and opened her magazine. 5 minutes later, whistles blew and the train started. The magazine slipped from Mrs. McGillicuddy's hand. Her head dropped sideways. 3 minutes later, she was asleep. She slept for 35 minutes and awoke refreshed. Resettling her hat, which had slipped askew, she sat up and looked out of the window at what she could see of the flying countryside. It was quite dark now, a dreary, misty December day. Christmas was only 5 days ahead. London had been dark and dreary. The country was no less so, though occasionally rendered cheerful with its constant clusters of lights as the train flashed through towns and stations. "Serving last tea now," said an attendant, whisking open the corridor door like a djinn. Mrs. McGillicuddy had already partaken of tea at a large department store. She
Sample complete. Ready to continue?